skipped ahead. All right, cool. How's everyone doing today? Good? Nah, it's getting lighter, so I'm hoping it's the last few people who are super interested in the topic versus people who just want to leave right now. So I'll try to be super fast. I'll skim through the slides and give you a little bit of kind of background on what we were doing. My name is Matz. It's short for Murtaza, if you can pronounce it correctly. It's an Arabic name, so I tend not to massacre it all the time. I'm Associate Director for Insights Analytics at MediaCom, and my area of focus, I guess, analytics focus has been text mining. You know, how can we mine textual data, extremely unstructured data sets, derive some insights out of it, potentially beneficial and actionable insights, and how do you plug that back into a business stream to help drive insights and become more predictive, be more actionable, et cetera, et cetera. So we did a little case study, a couple of friends, and I'll explain the entire case study as we go down the tunnel. But for the case study itself, our strategy partners is MediaCom. And I guess even on the strategy and analytics piece was MediaCom, and on the analytics piece was Nabler, which is essentially a India-based analytics firm. So kind of next slide talks about what the companies are. High level, MediaCom is part of Group M, which is again part of WPP, which is again one of the largest media buying networks in the world. We are ranked across, I guess globally we are ranked third. In the US we are ranked fourth in terms of our network size. Canada third, second in EMEA, and third in Latin America. Sorry for the slide, it's not very visible. We move a lot of media buys, so we move around $30 billion of media spend, just MediaCom itself. Group M is even larger, and now WPP is even larger, so I wouldn't go there. But we operate in around 97 markets, 122 offices. You could rest assured your media buy is done by professionals when you come to us. Nabler, on the other hand, it's a niche analytics agency based out of India, been in business for since 2004, focusing primarily on web analytics, implementations, BI, reporting, and a big focus has been towards predictive and advanced analytics. This project kind of started out as a discussion, and then netted out to be something which we found a lot of interest from a business perspective, and it essentially was very insightful. So having said that, I'll take us to the agenda slides. High level, this presentation talks about a business opportunity that we found in one of our case study partners. We found a pain point the business was struggling with, found an opportunity to kind of inform the business towards better decision making. We defined a methodology for analysis for this textual data that we are going to kind of go walk through. The third section is essentially Insights Express. In an original deck, that's probably going to be 60 slides. But in this, I promise you, I'll let you go off early today. So it's just 5 to 6 slides. It's very crisp use cases of what we learned, what we think every retailer can benefit from, and can take back to their businesses in terms of actionable insights. And the last slide just talks about key action items. If you're a retailer and you have this kind of data set, these are the 3 teams that get impacted. This is exactly what you need to do, and go from there. So having said that, I'll go into the next slide, which kind of goes into details of the presentation. Just kind of a high level, certain slides gets a little bit into the statistical elements. So just raise your hand in the middle of the presentation if you have questions. I try to make my slides extremely colorful and full of numbers, so it's insightful as well as playful. And that's kind of the way I like to look at numbers too. It's very colorful, it's very playful, and you have to look at it that way and have fun with it. So pardon if you have any questions, just stop me right there. It might be better than waiting till the end. So having said that, what did we do? So we worked with a retailer, dELiA and Alloy Apparel. These are the two top retailers we work with. And these retailers, just like any other retailers out there, whether it's Macy's or Sears, collected product reviews on their product pages. These are hand raisers, individuals who probably got an email after they bought a product saying, hey, we noticed you bought a product. Our fulfillment center said it actually got delivered and you didn't throw it back at us. You've been using it for a week. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? You would buy 10 more copies. Do you want a discount? Do you want to go out for a movie? Whatever. We ask those questions in that email. They come back, they write a review. In most cases, it's awesome reviews. There's a lot of textual data. Sometimes it's not hand raisers. It's people who just want to say something mean about the product, which they found out. And it's important factoid. A good case study, a good example I saw when I started looking at the data was football jerseys with spelling mistakes. And that can really make football fans really mad. And they would go back and write that on their fans saying, that's not how you pronounce or spell my team. It's Buccaneers without the K is not right. So so I was like, all right, I'll let the merchants know, let them fix the stupid spelling, and boom, they come back with a smiley face on Twitter. So that was fun. So you have these interactions, and it was interesting for me to see. The merchants and planners, they look at the data, but come on, it's a lot of information. It goes from 5 reviews per day to, if you put it on a Facebook page and add a promotion of 10%, it jumps up to 90 reviews per day. And no merchant is going to go through all that data, especially if they see the product is selling. I don't care. Even if it gets returned after 3 months, it's kind of all right. So that was an area that we thought we can understand, capture the data, analyze it better, summarize the insights, and let the business kind of have some action plan. So our entire focus was to look at product reviews online and analyze the unstructured data set. The next thing we did was, I was actually chatting with my friends at Nabler in India, and there were 2 statisticians, super smart guys. Some of them did their PhD in text mining, so it was an area where they really, they were passionate about, just like me in certain cases without the PhD. They had a theory that sentiment analysis in general is very customer phobic. So you look at a customer and say, what's his sentiment? Yes, bad, no, good, okay, fine. It's great to know that, but for a merchant, we have a lot of customers. I don't want to know. I don't want another Excel file with 60,000 rows saying how good or bad the sentiment is. They want to. So what we decided to shift the gears and say, all right, what's my sentiment at a merchant level, or what's my sentiment at a supplier level? And these are the 2 major levers a retailer has, right? So you have the planning team that goes and plans and buys inventory and makes sure we have stock on the rack. The merchant team that goes out and says exactly what I need. This is the new trend. We need to go and make merchandising decisions happen. We need to acquire this inventory, and the planning team works with them to make sure we have inventory going forward. So the idea was how do I create a methodology where I'm giving them sentimental insights and scores based on their area of business, merchandising and supplying, so it's planning. And we kind of changed the focus on how you look at the data. This is not my favorite slide, it's my second favorite slide, but it's a very complicated description of what we did. We took a cow and make a burger out of it. High level, we had a very sophisticated methodology. It gets sophisticated on the next slide. This is not the most technical slide I have. We defined 2 ways or 2 methodologies or 2, I guess, parallel processing timeframes for our analysis. The first one was just data preparation. We prepare the data and understand the variance, the timeframes, the sample sizes, the segments, etc. And there were 2 outputs of that. One was a word dictionary, which I'll tell you what exactly it is. And the second was sentimental attributes, which I will tell you what it is too. The second phase was analysis phase, where we said, all right, I have this word dictionary and the sentimental attributes. Let me match this data together with the reviews and get a sentimental score, which is essentially a rate card. And then once I have a score, I can use the score to rate a business based on whatever dimensions you throw back at me. So whether it's plannings and all the planning levers, whether it's merchandising and all the merchandising categories, etc. So high level, this is structure. this is probably the most technical slide I have. And it defines the two phases. It's the math of text, as I call it. The first part, we used RapidMiner for analysis. So we took all the product reviews, passed it to a RapidMiner validation set, and identified two major objects. One is a word dictionary, as I mentioned. A word dictionary is essentially a collection of all the words that we listen in the conversation. These are exact keywords that people are using in their reviews to say something good about the product, to say something bad about the product, or just say something about a product or a service or a brand. So it's just your text. It's a taxonomy or a dictionary of all the keywords that were being used. The sentimental attributes were the attributes we saw people talking about. So these are hot topics people are talking about. And for a retailer of our case study, it was things like fitting, delivery, durability, pricing, and then general comments. So either people were talking about, it's a good fit, it's a good delivery timing, or a bad durability experience. These are the top experiences people were talking about. Once we had these two outputs from the first preparation phase, we matched it back to product reviews, ran it through a RapidMiner algorithm, and created a sentimental score. So we actually had scores which were weighted at a item level. And then you can always do whatever else you want. So enough looking at this slide. The next slide just kind of talks about the attributes. So as I mentioned, you have fit, which is fitting of the products, how it fits, how it feels, how it scales. Durability, I watched it once, now I can't get into it. I wore the jeans and the button's gone. I need a new pair of jeans. So whether it's durable. Delivery timing's big issue, especially during season. People were complaining about, I ordered this product 6 weeks back. It's almost end of season. I can't hit the beach. Pricing, extremely expensive or cheap, or just general comments. I love the brand. I love Macy's, or I love Toys R Us. It's a great experience. So these are the top topics people were talking about. I have a little line of accuracy, which is based on sample sizes. So we saw a lot of people talking about certain things. We saw a few people talking about other things. This kind of gives you a range of confidence we had in the scores that we built for each sentimental attributes. Just a little pinch of salt. This is by far the most technical slide I have. I take it back. So again, the same methodology in a different format. We took the reviews, ran a bunch of calculations, created a sample, created an output file, and then created ratings for these. So yeah, all good methodologies. The idea was, what does the business get out of it? And I love this slide because it's Dilbert, and I kind of love the dog. I think he's really evil and very smart too. You need a dashboard application to track your metrics. That's what he is asking his boss. That way you'll kind of ignore more data before you make a decision on company politics. When the bosses comes back and say, well, is the data going to be accurate? And his answer is, well, does it really matter? I'll just build it anyways. So what we don't want to do is just do analysis for the sake of it. And the Insights Express, as I call it, the next few slides talks about key use cases that as a business, it's very actionable. You can actually do something out of it. And we'll go through the first one. So the first one looks at sentimental trending. For a large company, this is very important. It kind of helps you understand where are you getting hit, right? So the use case we had was for teen retail. What we essentially did was we ranked the sentimental scores across years for each category and tried to identify, are we seeing bigger drops in certain categories versus not? And the fun thing we found was it correlates very closely with sales. So if you look at sales for categories, it's kind of a similar drop, if not more. And it was more when your ticket value was higher. And there were certain years when you were having lower promotions versus better promotions. But at a conversion level, it was even tighter. So we kind of knew, well, the business is down for shoes or outerwear or clearance. It says the same story, right? But what it also did was now we can drill down into any drops and look at exactly which categories are getting hit, look at each product or the group of products which were positive, now negative, within categories, and pinpoint exact reasons why our customers don't like the product anymore. They're coming in and saying it's not great, or they're no longer brand advocates. So this was an important view for the business to see. Again, data here is kind of fudged out, but the drops and the rises are real. So I try to make it a little real without getting a really angry phone call from someone. So that's like the first win. You have sentimental trending. The next, sorry. All right. The second one, the merchants didn't like this initially. They were very mad at me to put this together because it made some of them look like rock stars, some not so much. Some were just mad at me. But it was a fun experience. So what we did was we created a sentimental scorecard, something like you get when you're in middle school and your grades are not that great. This scorecard, again, takes each category for a year or a quarter and ranked it based on specific attributes. The way you read it is, on the right hand, you have the quantitative metrics like, average rating that people are just putting out of 5-star rating, total reviews, a little bit around sampling. But the real crux is in the percents. And the greens are a positive sentiment. The reds are a negative sentiment. So when we started hearing a lot of negative about certain categories, it tipped their score in a negative sphere. And the more tip you see on the negative, the worse it is. The more tip you see on the positive, the better it is. The way I would read this is for dresses, I see a negative 2%, which means in pricing, which means we need to really do some damage control on perception of pricing for dresses, because our customers feel our dresses are overpriced compared to any other category. When people talk about pricing, they don't think shoes is overpriced. They really feel dresses are. Same thing goes with tops. On the other hand, let's say fitting, our best scores were for jeans and dresses. So people think our jeans fit perfectly. They love the way we rank it. The size chart works fine. The product finder works fine. They love the fitting of our products. And then, on the other hand, we have some serious durability issues in shoes. You'll see durability and fit here. When we were looking at the data set, we found a lot of people talking about fitting as well as durability, so we try to group that as a separate category. But in general, we saw the same sentiment, a very strong negative sentiment for shoes. And this is very helpful once a quarter or over a year, or half a year, and then you start rating your merchants on having to improve the sentiment scores. Another view we created for each category was category-specific trends compared with trends in their sales. And then pinpointing exactly what we saw as an outliner. So, for jeans, one of the best categories they had very positive reviews. Specific jeans had an 80% positive score, which is best for any jeans. That's the model. Next time the jeans merchant talks with any jeans buyer, that's exactly where she needs to point for a good assortment or a good product within our jeans spectrum. So this is one view which was helpful. Finally, dissecting a category. Again, this slide goes a little bit deeper. If you are an accessory merchant and you have a bunch of other subcategories, what's my score for each category? Jewelry, baggings, bells, sunglasses, scarves. So imagine doing this for each major category you have and subcategory and looking at a sentimental score and potentially trending if you have enough sample size. And then what we pulled out was a outliner. So the outliner is, for accessories, we just feel our customers have a strong negative sentiment in terms of durability. So that's the key area the merchant needs to really focus on and try to improve if he or she wants to improve sales. All right. So my dad was in sales, and he's been in sales forever, and I think he's always going to be in sales. And we were just having a chat, and I love this slide where they say, well, who do you think our biggest enemy is? And he said, well, it's us itself. It's the guys we work with. They sell us products. They're great products, but they can sell us real crap, and then we kind of get stuck with the customers because we're on the forefront. Big question for big brands, right? Macy's, Sears, dELiA, Gap, J.Crew. I mean, it's their brand name on the product. They might not be making the product. It's being supplied by suppliers. They might have multiple suppliers for the same product. But if garbage gets pushed in the system, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's their brand that gets impacted. And how do you measure that, right? So the next focus that we had in mind was to not just look at merchants and help them become better, but look at suppliers and planners and try to create something called a supplier scorecard. So now, again, names are fictitious. Do not call Star of Asia. There is no company called Star of Asia. But these are the top suppliers for the case study that we were doing. And we essentially create a scorecard for suppliers. So next time the planner is in a meeting, he would be saying, well, you, Mr. GM Merchandising, have the worst score across almost all my suppliers. I still pushed 2,300 products, so at least I got reviews for 2,300 products. You're one of my top 20 suppliers. Stop giving me crap, or I'll get another one to supply me products. And then getting deeper, well, your worst score is for durability. If you can fix durability issues, I don't have fitting issues from you. I have no generic issues. Durability is the biggest area of concern for you. You're on the lower quartile of my supplier chain. Try to become better, or I'll get a replacement. So this was kind of a landmine, I guess, gold mine for, not a landmine, sorry, a gold mine for the suppliers, I guess the planning team, because now they kind of knew which supplier was good, which was bad, but all they could really do is pick up a call and phone and just yell at them and hope that things get better. Now they had a quantitative metric to say, this is what our customers are saying. Our brand is on the line, and I'm pushing your product. I'm taking a hit on my brand name just because I'm trying to get your product sold. Please help me help you, and or I'll just get someone new. In general, they have a scorecard. They look at it quarterly. They look at it half-yearly and improve on their supplier performance. Super important for a big brand name that does not manufacture their products. If they're getting their stuff from suppliers in Asia or Philippines, that's where the quality concern kind of major lies. All right, this is the last part. What language are your customers using to describe? I wasn't hoping to land this gold mine or land this pot of gold. This was not part of our analysis, but we were just sitting in a room with our creative director, and she's like, you know what, we sell to teen girls, and they're like 18-year-olds, and I'm almost 35. And I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I don't know her age, but she's not 18, all right. So, she said, well, sometimes I don't know how they talk, because I'm very mature, and I'm supposed to write copies, and I'm supposed to put things in email and define our promotions. I just don't know how she talks and what keywords she uses, and they just keep changing the way they acronymize their language. This is a teen girl, right? So is there a way I can use the data that you're working with to help me make better keyword decisions? And I was like, yeah, actually, that's the keyword dictionary. So what I have there is a keyword listing of, if she wants to say something about durability, those are the keywords she uses. If she wants to say something good about fit, that's exactly what she uses. She's an 18-year-old girl, and she will use hashtags in almost every keyword she puts out there. I don't know what that means, but sure, that's exactly what you should be using probably in your emails too, because if you're trying to sell something to her, you want to talk her language. And that was great for them. This is a cheat sheet. It's kind of all over her cube. When you walk in there, she's like, every time an email goes out, I look, okay, what are we trying to sell? What are the keywords we are using? How do I say this is good in her language? I know kind of how to say it in a 40-year-old language, but not in a teen girl language. So she uses that a lot, and she's like, I'm sure this thing changes. I'm like, yeah, this thing changes every quarter. I don't know how that works. They define a new language every quarter or a new set of keywords. So her answer was like, well, let's look at it every week, every quarter, and say, what the language is now for our customers and what should we be using. So the next thing we did was give that really ugly looking word dictionary and not the sentiment scores, that would really drive her crazy, but just the word dictionary, and give it to her as a cheat sheet so she would use it in all the content, which is either for emails or social media when they're saying, this is good, this is bad, or a display copy or paid search copy, even direct our catalogs. We started writing stuff which kind of made more sense to them, and landing pages, obviously. Big area, another area where we saw them working extensively was when we found out there was issues with certain products and they were really negatively talking about it. In the next quarter, we tried to tweak our messaging, our marketing messaging, to improve the sentiment on that score. So to give you an example, we pushed a book out and we put a new product. The supplier was probably the worst, and the jeans were not good. The buttons would pop out. And we know there's that issue because everyone's kind of talking about it. The next book drop, we would kind of say better things about our durability, kind of hint that now we have much better products. They're much more durable. Come check it out with 5% off or 10% off. And she's trying to pull that in. So in certain ways, we are trying to tweak, or I guess, improve on a sentiment that we know we've hurt on a customer side, and they would make it part of their creatives. So that kind of concludes it all. This is the last slide, as I mentioned. It kind of just clubs all the key insights together. So you have one slide to kind of start from or end to. Planning-wise, incentivize better performing vendors. If they're giving you better products, they're on the top quartile of your quality score, fine, take a margin hit, put them out there because they're helping your brand more than anything else. Inform the ones that are not performing well. They need to know they're in the lower section. They might just be from Asia and they're with the same dynamics of operational restrictions. They need to know they're not giving us better products and we know about it. Penalize the lesser performing vendors, limit their exposure on our products or vendor pages. Merchandising, promote better reviewed products. We started putting in better reviews or better review products on a higher sort on our product pages. We also started mentioning the best review that we got on a product, which was informative, like, hey, I'm 6'2", but I like to buy this dress, which is size L because it fits me better, and if you're of my demographic, that's what you need to buy. We know there's sizing issues. People have sizing issues with certain products. Put that review right on the top as one of the top reviews, and let the customer know how the other customers are feeling about the product. And then creatively, use the keywords that you think your customers are talking to and not how your CEO thinks the messaging should be, even though she might be right or she might be 45 years old and not know how a teen girl talks. So, that's another insight we had. Finally, so that's the end. I'll let you guys go quickly. Special thanks to Mediacom and Nabla for being our partners in analytics. I.E for helping us with the event and letting us present, and our case study partners, dELiA and Alloy Apparels. That's all I have. Any questions? No questions? All right. I'm sorry?
I want to learn more about what you did with the word
Word text?
Yeah, because that's a whole conversation in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, so the actual slide for this entire presentation was over 200 or 100 pages thick. Went into details of every category, every subcategory, and what the merchant needs to do to improve. Sample size was 2 years data, so that was a lot of data. But we can totally get into the details and later, yeah. Sure.
Rapid Miner or commercial technology?
I'm sorry?
It's Rapid Miner or commercial technology?
Yeah, it's a vendor. It's a software vendor. It's you can use SPSS, maybe SAS if you kind of have that plugin. It's essentially just a tool which allows you to build taxonomy structures, aggregate the numbers, create scores for each keyword, and then pump that back as a mechanism to get scoring on a review. So it's just a tool. R does a great job too. If you want to get there, I think it's even better. Yep.
No. Well then, well, one more?
Actually, yeah, we have a few.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let me go back to that slide. You're talking about the scorecard, right?
Yeah.
This one? Yeah, so it is important, but you'll notice in certain sentimental attributes, they are in the same average. So like all the fitting attributes are in the 80% because that's how intense these discussions are or these topics are. Whereas for pricing, out of say 100 reviews, I maybe find 5 reviews which are talking about pricing. And then when you weight them, their score impact is even lower. So you can read this. The reason we wanted to make this was it's a metric, so you can read it this way or this way and pick a best category in a specific sentiment or just best category across. But yeah, it's based on the volume of reviews we had. I guess the average range of a specific sentiment in a sentimental parameter. Yep.
Any other questions? At the back?
Hi, the average star rate, the 5-star rate, that's just when the customers rate your score from 1 to 5.
Yes.
Do you find that to be
Correlated?
just as useful?
Yeah.
Does it complement or does it contradict the sentiment?
Yeah. It's a very good question. I didn't get into.
The reason I ask is it's really annoying when, like I'm an avid electronics user.
Uh-huh.
And I go to either Amazon or Newegg, and
and say something good.
Because that's not, that's an outlier. Right?
Uh-huh.
So my question is actually twofold. One is, do you find that the star ratings
Help.
complement? And as a follow-up question, is there a way that are there things that you do to find outliers?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So the first answer, they do complement, but not without caveats in it. As you mentioned, there are people, what we found was there are people who would rate it as 2 on a 5-star rating and say great things about the product. But that's how they function. They would just give you 2 stars. They're like a really tough math teacher, right?
That's more the case with
Apparels, yes, exactly, with fashion. And it also matters based on age groups. So we did this study for 2 brands, at least 2 brands that we can talk about. One was a younger age group, one was an older age group. The younger age group would just give 4+ and say, I hate this, it just breaks. The older age group would say 3 and say, yeah, it's all right, it's fine, cool. So it really depends on your age group, your industry. If you go into B2B and let's say, I'm just going to throw an example. I'm a Lenovo. I'm dropping a new laptop out. It's been a week. I want to read sentiments of our customers. They will be much more critical about, hey, I'll rate it 2 because my last laptop, I spent $1,000, didn't have these compatibility issues. Didn't work on Chrome, Skype doesn't work, overheating, et cetera, et cetera. So it really depends on the customer, the industry. And yeah, it does relate better in certain cases versus not. But what we found is when you textually mine the data, you build an average for your customer, right? So even the outliners are kind of meshed out because when you have a textual library and you have the keywords and you know the scoring, the more the number of keywords someone uses, the better their score is. And then it's more accurate in certain cases than just using a review rating because that, yes, has perception gaps in it. What was the outliners? So what we did was, in this slide, it's under the frog. There's this little green box, which kind of, we did this for each category. We pulled out what we thought was an outliner sentiment for that category compared to all other categories and all other sentiments that other categories were getting, and just pulled that out as a key variant. So like in this case, for accessories, durability had a strong negative sentiment. And if I'm an accessories merchant, I need to focus on durability. That should be my key topic when I talk with the vendor versus anything else. Yeah? All right.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, well, yeah, big round of applause to Matz for that. And yeah, and thank you to all the